We're looking for a line tangent to the curve 3 arcsine x at x equals 1/2. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have to do the derivative of arcsine for this, which we never covered in class. But again, at this point, if you really want the opportunity to maybe earn a couple extra points if they end up throwing inverse trig derivatives on there, it's pretty easy to just look up inverse trig derivatives and just copy them down and do your best to memorize them. So for this video, I'm just going to tell you what the derivative of arcsine is when we come to that. But remember, to write an equation of a tangent line, we always have to do y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we've very typically are given the x value. x1 in this case is 1/2. So first thing we should do is find out what y1 is, and then we'll address the whole slope issue. So y equals 3 times arcsine of 1/2. So what this is really asking is, when is sine 1/2? When is sine equal to 1/2, right? What x value or what angle is going to produce that, right? So we just need to go back to our unit circle and remember that sine of pi over 6 is equal to 1/2. Sine of pi over 6 is equal to 1/2. So then that means that arcsine of 1/2 is equal to pi over 6. Okay? So then if we come back up here and we're saying arcsine of 1/2 is pi over 6, well then, let's come down. That means that in this case, y is going to equal 3 times pi over 6, which is 3 pi over 6, which is pi over 2. Okay, so this just comes from unit circle knowledge, something else that I've just kind of memorized over time, knowing that arcsine of 1/2 is pi over 6, or that sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. So then I do 3 times that to get the pi over 2. So now I know that my y1 is pi over 2. So now I just need to take care of the slope. So y prime, the derivative of arcsine is 1 over square root 1 minus x squared. Again, something you can just memorize for now. Okay, so then that means that my y prime is going to equal 3 times 1 over the square root of 1 minus 1/2 squared, because that was our x value. So keep going. We get 3 times 1 over the square root of, this is going to give me 1 minus 1/4. Right? So 1 minus 1/4 is going to be 3/4. Okay. So it may look like this is nasty, but there's more simplification we can do. This is 3 times 1 over square root 3 over 2. So what do we have? We have 3 times 1 times multiply by the reciprocal to divide fractions, 2 over root 3, which is going to give me 6 over root 3. And then last little thing here we can do is multiply by root 3 over root 3. So that's going to give me 6 root 3 over 3, which now simplifies to 2 root 3. Okay, so a lot of kind of nasty fraction and radical simplification there, but that's our final slope, is 2 root 3. So then we can come back over here and say that the equation of our tangent line is y minus pi over 2, that's our y1, equals 2 root 3 times x minus 1/2, that's our x1. So that's our final equation.